morning, everybody. This is Ricky, and welcome to Hope for Today. It's the weekend, baby. I'm sorry, I just had to shout it from the rooftops. Hey, thank God it's Friday. It's Friday. We got the weekend, baby. It's cold here in the Coachella Valley, in the desert. And by cold, I mean it is 62 degrees. Y'all, I got hot chocolate right there. I got on a vest. I got on Ugg boots. It is freezing here, but we can't wait to get out and have an awesome weekend. And that's my prayer for you, that you'll have an amazing weekend with family, friends, connecting, whatever it is you're gonna do. But listen, while you're out, stepping out into the weekend, would you do me a favor? If this ministry, Hope for Today, this daily Devo, if it's blessing you, I'm praying a crazy prayer that Jesus will one day have this devotional going to 150,000 phones around the world each and every day. And I'm not going to get there without you. And so if you love this, if you're being blessed by it, do me a favor. Forward this to someone else and get them to sign on. Text 94000. Text SW Connect to 94000 because we want people to sign up. We want to be able to just celebrate 150,000 people getting this Devo each and every day because we want to bless the world. And thank you so much for letting us be a part of your life. Hey, here's a word for your weekend. And the word is basically this: God will be with you. Woo! That's your charge today. That's your hope, that God will be with you. I want to just remind you the truth. God is omniscient, which means he knows all things. He is omnipresent, which means he's in all places. And he is, according to the word, omnipotent. He has all power to do all things but fail. And I want you to know that the great God of the universe has promised he will be with you. Now, why am I saying that so emphatically? Because a lot of times in our lives, when we consider the obstacles against us, the obstacles of our career, the obstacles of our family and our marriages, the obstacles of the current financial climate, the obstacles of the current political climate, all of the mountains around us that we have to climb. Some of us are sick and afflicted. Some of us have a loved one who's going through a storm. Some of us have insurmountable obstacles around us. And what ends up happening, hear this, is that what ends up happening when you got mountains to climb, you end up looking at you and how you will get over the mountain instead of looking at who you're with and how he gets you over the mountain. Now, I just preached and you didn't even hear it. A lot of times when we have mountains to climb, we are so overwhelmed. Why? Because we compare the mountain to us instead of comparing the God who made the mountain to the mountain. God told me to tell you that when you got mountains to climb, don't look at you and what you're able to do, but focus on who he is and who you're with and what he's able to do in and through you. See, the obstacle for us is not the obstacle. The obstacle is to get past us and look at him and say, as long as I got the mountain maker, woo! As long as I got the mountain maker, hallelujah, I can get over the mountain. Are y'all smelling what I'm stepping in? Here's what I want you to hear. God qualifies the unqualified. Because I know it's real. That when you got big burdens in your life, what happens is you look inward instead of outward and you say, how am I able to do this? Who am I to accomplish this? And a lot of what ends up happening is that you get into an identity scenario that's a trap of Satan to help you to continue to focus on what's in you instead of who's with you. Moses went through this in Exodus chapter 3. Do you remember this? God is calling Moses to do this great thing, climb this mountain of freeing his people, the children of Israel, from Egypt. And of course, Moses is here standing looking at the burning bush, and he's seeing this great mountain of going up against Pharaoh and Pharaoh's army. And now he's looking at himself saying, I can't do this. But look at how God answers Moses, and it's how God answers you when you are perplexed by the question, who am I? Verse 11, chapter 3 of Exodus, Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? Verse 12, God said, but I will be with you. The question that we ask in humanity is, who am I? But the answer that comes back from heaven is, I'll be with you. God answers the question of identity with the answer of his presence going with you. What God is trying to tell Moses is, it doesn't matter who you are. What matters is who you're with. And as long as you've got me It doesn't matter who you are, because me plus you equals victory each and every time. Are you smelling what I'm stepping in? Do you see why I say go have you a great weekend? Because it's not about who you are, it's about who you are with. And here's the lesson that you can take into your weekend. Who I'm with trumps who I am. Because as long as you got the mountain maker, you can get over the mountain. I remember when I first started flying regularly, I thought I had to look the part. And so I would have on my business slacks and my business shirt and my business shoes. And I even bought myself a chocolate brown fedora with a blazer from the thrift store so I can look like I belong here in this airport. And I am walking around and I'm just trying to look for something to eat. So it's just like, do I want some Sbarros? Do I want some Chick-fil-A? You know, what I want. And I couldn't think of anything. And all of a sudden, a man from my neighborhood where I grew up, Mr. Brown, sees me. Now, Mr. Brown was a big-time businessman, three-piece suit kind of guy, briefcase, and he says, "Ricky, son, how you doing?" I said, "Hey, Mr. Brown, how you doing?" He says, "Hey, son, have you eaten yet? Do you have time for lunch?" I said, "I was just looking for something to eat." He says, "Okay, come on and go with me." And so I notice how I'm walking with Mr. Brown, and he's walking into a wall, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Mr. Brown is senile. He's walking into a wall at the airport." And I'm just following him like, "Oh my gosh, Mr. Brown has lost his mind." And y'all, all of a sudden, a wall opened up. And two doors, just like Star Trek, just went open. And he went into the great abyss beyond the wall. And of course, I'm looking at myself saying, this blazer's from the thrift store. And this fedora hat, I borrowed it. Like, I don't belong where he is going. And Mr. Brown looked back and says, "Ricky, come on with me." And I saw something called the Admirals Club. And I was like, I wonder if they got fish sandwiches. And I'm walking into the Admirals Club, and Mr. Brown, he flashes something at this lady, and he walks on in. I'm like, I can't go in there because I'm not enough. I don't belong. And I went up to the lady, teeth chattering. I was so nervous. I was like, "Ma'am, I don't think I can go in there like Mr. Brown did. And I don't have any ID. I don't have any qualifications. I don't have any money." And the lady looked at me and said, "Baby, as long as you with him, you can go anywhere in here you want to go." Then it hit me that to get access to something better had way less to do with who I was and had everything to do with who I was with. Now I'm preaching on this, Devo, but God told me to tell you, He qualifies the unqualified. And as long as you got the mountain maker, you can get over the mountains in your life. That's hope for today. Forward this to somebody else. I'll see you next time.